Hello. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. My name is Justin, and I'm very excited to be introducing Macbeth the Musical. So, I come from AU World Productions, AU World Theatrical, and we're developing this new musical that is being marketed as a rock musical. Very excited. Dedicated to the works of Shakespeare, in particular Macbeth, which is my favourite Shakespearean play of all time. So I'm very excited about this one. Now, the reason why we started working on this project, and we actually started looking into this project several months ago, and we're now at the point where we think we're ready to start rolling with it and actually put our plans into action. So the reason why we looked into this is because it's obviously one of Shakespeare's most iconic and most famous plays. I think most people understand it. It's taught in a lot of schools. And I just think back to my childhood and being a little bit worried about the text of Shakespeare. And now, as a professional working in this industry, I'm more comfortable around it. But I think, actually, even if I went to a Shakespeare play now, there is that language barrier. Several years ago, I explored the idea of working on a film project that was taking Romeo and Juliet to modern day Camden. And the whole point in this is to really showcase Shakespeare's work to a more modern audience and do it in a way that is relatable. So the idea of Macbeth the Musical is very much fitting in with the current commercial theatre scene at the moment. So we think it will work very, very nicely and slot in somewhere very, very well. But it's going to be hard work. It's going to be very hard work. It is very much going on a big rock theme. Now, a little bit about it. It's still using the text of Shakespeare. We try to limit as many changes as possible to hardly any. There has to be a little bit of artistic license there, but actually it is pretty much all the same script, including the songs. But they've been reworked into big musical theatre rock numbers, big loud numbers, and it's going to be one of the most extraordinary musicals you'll ever watch. One of the most exciting, certainly one of the most exciting I've ever worked on. Now, of course, these projects do cost a lot of money, so of course this is, I suppose, my ask for your support for helping us develop this project. I suppose I will give you the respect of, talking about the business end of this project. So it's run by AU World, AU World Limited, and AU World Theatrical, which is one of our trading names. But I have a very set idea of how I want to go about this project. I do want to take it on a small tour first. I think that's the best route. Actually, when I say a small tour, the last time I did a small tour, we went to 30 venues nationwide. So the scope for audience numbers is quite high. I would anticipate tens of thousands of tickets sold, and I've got a proven track record of getting those sort of numbers. That is not something that I'm worried about at all. Box office split deals with fine theatres across the land is my thing, and actually that's the exciting bit when you secure those deals and I've got this show, it's going to be running at this venue on this date, and you're able to advertise that. it's very exciting because it's at that point it's all happening. But there's other things in the meantime that really need work. Marketing is a real headache, but actually this is the sort of show that needs to be seen now. It is in the right environment in the theatre scene at the moment. Actually, the first venue that I really want to approach with this is it's actually between two venues, two well-respected venues in the theatre scene. So the first being the iconic Other Palace in London. They really are a hub for nurturing new musicals. And a lot of work that has gone on there has gone on to have very successful lives as musicals. So that's the first point of call, and I do have contacts there. The second one is actually a new venue that again nurtures new musicals, and the artistic director, the wonderful Paul Taylor Mills, used to be at the helm of the Other Palace. So that's really interesting. And this other theatre is called the Turbine, which is located at Battersea Power Station, which is very, very lovely. Those are my two target venues to be launching this project. And I think actually right now out of the two, the exciting one is very much the Turbine. So that's where I'd like to pitch it to. Beyond that, we want to be taking it to theatres up and down the country. We do that on a box office split basis, which is what it says on the tin. So the box office profits are split between the theatre company and the theatres. But I am actually being quite ambitious about this one. I think this particular project, I don't want to wait too long before I take it to London. That is, if we have a sort of timeline of what we want to do, this is when we want to do it, and this is what we want to eventually get to, and this is what we're chasing. The West End is what I will be chasing. I do have quite strategic West End producing contacts, and there's a particular person I do want to contact, mostly because I do know him very well, love his work, and I think this is something that would be of interest to him. So I will be pitching this project almost straight away to Peter Wilson, who I really want to get involved. And actually, Paul Taylor Mills, it would be really wonderful to get him involved, because this is the sort of thing where he would add a lot of value to. But the life of this show isn't just a short run. This project, it's not our intention to just go to one venue or two venues and do a few nights. This is a project that we intend as our ultimate goal to have an open-ended run, which would be very, very lovely. But it really will showcase Shakespeare to a modern audience who wouldn't usually go to a Shakespeare play, and that's our big target audience. I suppose the two shows, and they're two absolutely wonderful shows. I actually know the MD for the UK tour of one of them, who I worked with once, and those two shows are, of course, Six, that I would compare it to in style massively. But I also suppose, in a way, and Julia, which is both shows, by the way, are currently playing in the West End. Six is at the Arts Theatre, and Julia is at the Shaftesbury Theatre. I went to see Anne Juliet only a couple of weeks ago. It was absolutely fantastic. But I think between those two shows, they are really setting the style for the 2020s. For what musical theatre I think will be. And it's very, very exciting, and I think we should be in there. So I have quite a long history myself in professional and commercial theatre producing. So I do want you to trust me, and that's part of the reason why I created this video, because I'm sending lots of messages around, and I just don't think that's enough. So I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Justin. I am the executive producer for Macbeth the Musical, and we are really excited. Please get in contact. Please show your support. If you can, please pledge some money to our fundraiser. We're trying to raise £10,000. We really want to raise a good portion of that quite quickly, so we are not just sitting around and waiting before we can actually do stuff. We want to be getting on with stuff. You just can't do that without money, unfortunately. Wish I could, but nothing works without having a pot there to actually work with. So in terms of the future of the project, and funding wise, of course, £10,000 will never run a UK tour, let alone beyond its UK tour life. I think once we actually get going with it, once we got that development fund, it will be a case of funding applications. But beyond that, also pitching to corporate sponsors. And I think this is something I can pitch to a good corporate sponsor. I have experience of getting corporate sponsors, household name corporate sponsors on board with projects. And there is potential scope to put a bit of investment in from profits made from AU World if things are really starting to pick up with it, because this is intended to be our major project through 2020. Just before I do go, just an idea of what I want to actually offer you if you did support us financially. But if you didn't support us financially and you can support us in some other capacity, it'd be lovely to hear from you. Or even if it's just a good luck, a follow on Twitter, anything you can really do to support us. My thanks go out to you, but especially to those who think they can put in a little bit of money. Well, first of all, the first 400 tickets for the show will be dedicated to the first 400 people who actually put into this development fund. So get in there nice and quickly. And I'm going to say it doesn't actually matter how much you put in, because for me, the first 400 who put into this, clearly believe in this project, and I want to thank you for believing in this project. So the minimum that you can put in is £3. But you can put in as little as £3, ideally more, because we're more on our way to actually achieving this. But if you can donate as little as £3 to actually help us get off the ground, that would be lovely. So the crowdfunding, and this is very much crowdfunding, but the crowdfunding platform we've decided to go on, I've decided to go on, is specifically because they are registered with the fundraising regulator. And I believe when it comes to fundraising for these projects, even if it's not charity or social enterprise based, we are fundraising for this project. We are fundraising to support the arts. And I believe there has to be a respect that goes out to the people who actually put into the project. So the crowdfunding site that we are going on is signed up to the fundraising regulator, which gives you a certain amount of protection. It does mean that it is regulated, which is, not in, it's not for our benefit, but that's for your benefit. And I thought that was really important to mention. So yeah, please feel free to look into the fundraising regulator, because everything we say we will do, we have to do. And if we don't do it, you get your money back. Simple as that. So yeah, please like, share, retweet, follow, show support, pledge, and love our new show, and that is Macbeth the New Rock Musical. Thank you very much.